Hi guys! So this is our first of many, I believe, at least 10 math videos, and today we are going to talk about finding the base. So when we did Funky Rabbit Dance Party, finding the percent of a number, we used a sentence that's similar to this. 12 is 15% of what number? But instead of saying 15%, it would say 12 is what percent of, and it gave us the number. Well, today we're going to be finding the base of a number. So the base is the whole. Remember what I've told you, that if you have 12, that's your percentage, that's your part. 15% is the percent, and this is what we need to change to a decimal, and I'll tell you that in a minute. And the number is the base. So anytime you see a question like this one we're going to be doing on our page today, which is page 203, by the way, 9 is 15% of what number? So what number means you're finding base. And to find base, you divide the percentage by the percent written as a decimal. So let's look here. And by the way, this is at the top of page 203, and it is the example from page 203. So I took my percentage, my part, it becomes my dividend. It goes inside the house. And then I have my percent written as a decimal, because 15% written as a decimal, we move the decimal point 2 places to the left and we get 0.15. Now in order to divide this, I have to do something first. See if you can think what I need to do. If you thought that you have to move your decimal in order to divide, you're right. So if I have 0.15 into 12, I have to move my decimal 2 places to the right because I can't divide with decimals. It doesn't work. Okay, so I'm going to move it 1, 2, which means I move this one 1, 2. And what do I do with those blank spaces? I annex zeros. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to annex these 2 zeros. So now I can divide easily. 1200 divided by 15. 15 into 1? Nope. 15 into 12? Nope. So about how many times does 15 go into 120? Well, I'm going to try over here and I'm going to think 8. Let's see. 15 times 8. 8 times 5 is 40. Oh my, I did it the first time. Okay. So now I'm going to put an 8. I know that 8 times 15 is 120. I'm going to subtract, and guess what? Even though it's a 0, you still have to bring down. So you ask yourself, how many times does 15 go into 0? 0 times. So let's check our final answer to make sure it makes sense. 12 is 15% of 80. Does that sound about right? Your number here, for the time being, should be bigger than your percentage, your part. So it does make sense. 12 is 15% of what number? If you're confused about that, go back and watch the first portion of the video, so that way you will be able to work these out more carefully. You have room on your paper to work these out, so you can do them on your paper. If you choose, do it on a spiral notebook, okay? So let's look at 1A. 1A says 9 is 15% of what number? Well, first thing I have to do is divide the percentage by the percent written as a decimal. This is my percentage. This is my percent. So my percent I have to write as a decimal. 0.15. Because 15% written as a decimal is 0.15. And thank goodness we have done so much review on this that you guys are so good at changing your percents to decimals. So we're going to come here. We're going to put 9 inside of the house. But the first thing I have to do in order to divide is to move my decimal so I don't divide with those decimals. So I move it once, twice. I'm going to move it once, twice here. And I need to annex those zeros. 0, 0. Now I can divide 15 into 900, or 900 divided by 15. I'm going to go ahead and erase these little mover marks. You can erase on your paper if you want, or you could just rewrite it like I did here, okay? So, 15 into 90. Well, I know 15 times 8 is 120 from our previous problem, so that's a little bit big. I know 120 minus 15 is 105, so that's still big. I'm going to try maybe 6. Let's see. 15 times 6. 5 times 6 is 30. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 90. Woo, we got it. First thing, give yourself congratulations if you did that. Okay? So I know 15 does not go into 9. 15 goes into 96 times. 6 times 15 is 90. But I have to bring down my 0 because 9 is not 15% of 6. Okay? But 9 is 15% of 60. So good job. If you don't have that, go back and rewind the video. If you rewind the video, you'll be able to see it again and you'll be able to work through it. Let's move on to B. 32 is 25% of what number? 32 is my percentage. 25% is my percent. I need to divide the percentage, my part, by the percent written as a decimal. So I'm going to take 32, go ahead and put it inside the house, that becomes my dividend, and 25% written as a decimal is 0.25. Okay, move my decimal. 2 times here, 2 times here. Can I divide now? Yeah, I can divide now. I don't have any more decimals. I'm good. I've annexed those zeros. I'm ready to go. So, 25 into 3, not going to happen. 25 into 32, 1 time. 32 minus 25. 12 minus 5 is 7. Bring down my 0. 25 into 70. Well, I can count by 25. 25, 50, 75. Oops, 75 is too much. So it's 2 times. 2 times 25 is 50. Subtract. Bring down my 0. Remember what I told you about 25s and hundreds. You can think of hundreds as dollars. 200 is like $2. 25 can be like quarters. So how many quarters are in $2? If there's 4 quarters in $1, then there's 8 quarters or 8 25s in 200. Then we subtract and we get 0. So 32 is 25% of 128. Hopefully you're keeping up, but like I said, if you're not, and that's totally fine, go back and rewind, okay? Let me get a darker color so you can see. So let's look at C, and I know you can't see this here, but this says what number? Hopefully you can see that. So I have 16 is 8% of what number? Well, 16 is my percentage, my part. 8 is my percent. Now be careful with 8. We're not going to divide by 0.8. 8 written as a decimal, 8% written as a decimal is 0.08. So I'm going to do 16 divided by 0.08. Okay, so move my decimal twice. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now I have 1,600 divided by 8. Well, I'm going to rewrite that because I don't feel comfortable dividing it with all those zeros there. There we go. A little bit easier now. How many times does 8 go into 1? Can't do it. Doesn't work. 8 into 16, 2. 2 times 8 is 16. Bring down my 0. 8 into 0, 0. Bring down my 0. 8 into 0, 0. So 16 is 8% of 200. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and you keep working for a moment and I'll be right back.